The country was once hailed as an African success story. Now the sluggish economy is at the heart of dissolution of many feelings about the ANC. Unemployment, 27%, with black South Africans locked out of job markets in much greater numbers than their white countrymen. The economy grew just 0.8%, and it's still reeling. 2 recessions in the last decade. And as for wealth distribution, the richest 10% own 71% of the total wealth of the country. The poorest 60% own 7% of the wealth. Amaka Anku is Africa's practice head at the Eurasia Group. She's with me from Washington. I ask you the same question that I asked David McKenzie. With so many economic woes, why aren't the electorate prepared to at least give opposition parties the chance to run things?
Well, the answer to that question is the lack of alternative, right? David was talking about the 2 main alternatives being the Democratic Alliance, which a lot of voters view as the white party, and then the Economic Freedom Fighters, which has very radical ideas on economic policy. They want to expropriate all private land. They want to nationalize banks and mining companies. They want to grab farms. And so for a lot of South African voters, they're not happy with the ANC, but there are not a lot of alternatives.
Well, yes, but then why hasn't the DA managed to make better inroads other than on the Western Cape? But, I mean, I think you'd have to agree that the economic situation is dire and the corruption scandal aspect of it is nothing short of criminal.
Well, my view is that the DA is not addressing the most critical issue for the majority of South Africa's population, which you alluded to in your introductory remarks there, which is the transformation of the economy to include and improve black participation, right? The economy is still dominated by whites. They own over 70% of farmland. A lot of blacks are still locked out of the economy, corporations, land ownership. And so the DA is seen as a party that isn't willing to confront this essential
Just a second. Let me interrupt you on that, though. That may be true, those numbers. I'm not quibbling with your statistics in any shape or form. But that is an even greater reason against the ANC, because they have been in power since the change, since Mandela, right the way through. And if black participation is still pathetically or very weak and low, and there is not the opportunity, you might as well try the other lot, because the current lot haven't done a very good job.
Well, this is why we currently have this battle within the ANC between the Cyril Ramaphosa faction and the Jacob Zuma former president faction. A lot of people are hoping that Ramaphosa can turn the ANC into the party they want it to be. A more progressive party, a party that is more liberal, a party that is less focused on rent seeking. And so, I mean, I go back to my first answer. The opposition right now is not seen as credible alternatives. And so the answer for a lot of people has to come from the ANC reforming itself. Oh,
good luck with that. Let's finally just say, I mean, you've got to admit, this is a really shoddy state of affairs. The country is magnificent. The people are productive and have great opportunity. And over the last 2-3 decades that I've been going there, the situation has just got worse.
Yes, I mean, I think this is an opportunity. There's a lot of focus on what margin the ANC gets in this election, right? I think that focus is a little overblown, but I think that there are 2 key things to watch, right? One is, if the ANC does end up with a very poor result, it could force it into a coalition with the EFF in the major province of Gauteng. Now, that will be an opportunity for the EFF to then sort of start to make arguments about, you know, the ANC's popularity is falling, and potentially try to take over the party. That will not be good for South Africa, right? So the margin of victory is not only important in terms of what signal Ramaphosa can send about his own popularity that enables him to fight the Zuma faction. It's also important in terms of staving off the ANC continuing to slide further down this populist route.
Good to see you. Thank you. We'll talk more.
Thank you.
We'll interpret the results once we see them.